Come with me as we walk the entire length of Manhattan from top to bottom today. It's Saturday, August 1st or something, and we're going to spend the next 6 to 7 hours walking about 16 miles from the top of Manhattan, 207th Street in Inwood, all the way down to the Battery at -60th Street at the bottom of Manhattan. I've been wanting to do this since I moved to New York City 15 years ago, and I just woke up. I canceled my F45 workout. I got on the train at 7:30 a.m. and off we go. I've got my magazine, I've got my phone charger, I've got my lip gloss or chapstick, and it should be a good adventure. Reached the top of Manhattan, 218th Street and Broadway. This is the exact spot where Broadway then turns into 10th Avenue to go up across the river out of Manhattan. So we are in Washington Heights. We took the A train up to 207th Street, and then I walked 11 blocks north to get to the true north. And now I'm just going to walk south all the way down Broadway. And you'll see that Broadway will weave diagonally through the city. We're going to go from west to east to west to east, all the way down to the Battery. Enjoy the adventure. So I guess I just picked the perfect day to walk the full length of Broadway, because it just so happens that today is also Summer Streets, which is a huge New York City initiative that is shutting down Broadway, I guess the full length of the city, or maybe part of the city, just for pedestrian traffic. And so, I guess I picked a great day just to walk. There's Flatiron Park, gorgeous. But I guess I don't have to walk on the sidewalk my entire day. I guess I can just walk down Broadway like I'm some Broadway actor or something, or I just won a championship team or something. This is cool. It's like batting cages, run clubs. This is gonna be fun. Flatiron Park is gorgeous. I had a little history of Broadway since I'm walking on it. It originally started off as a Lenape Native American trail connecting a bunch of neighboring villages. In the 1640s, when the Dutch came here, they took the trail and widened it a little bit and called it Herenstraat, or Gentleman's Street, Gentleman's Way, for gentlemen to saunter up and down a great boulevard. When the English came, they originally called it Great George Street. They named it after their great King George III. And eventually it became known as Broadway when the Americans took over in 1776. And so it's got a wonderful history. It's a center of commerce and theater and entertainment, and so many beautiful things happen on this great wide way. All right, I've been a little bit emotional for the last 5 blocks. I actually have chills on my arms right now. I'm gonna record a 2-part video. I'm up in Washington Heights. I'm at 173rd Street, just around the corner from Fort Washington. Now, America would not exist if it wasn't for what happened here on November 16th, 1776, and the month following. So imagine we're 300 blocks away from, downtown Manhattan, where the old New York was. Now, the British, with the biggest navy in the world, came in and captured downtown New York, and Washington, George Washington, and his troops retreated up to Fort Washington, getting killed along the way. And on November 16th, 1776, the British and the German Hessians, which were a private contractor, militia that came in on the British side, came and captured Fort Washington. Next video. When they captured Fort Washington, 2,100 American soldiers surrendered, but George Washington and a few, other great patriots escaped across the Hudson River over to New Jersey. Now, they spent the next month freezing in blizzards, with no shoes, no food, running low on ammunition, absolutely exhausted from having to run for their lives the last number of months here in New York. But eventually on Christmas Day, 1776, just a month later, George and his crew crossed the Delaware at midnight in the middle of icy ice fields and blizzards, go into the town of Trenton, take the Hessian German soldiers by surprise, capture Trenton, and it becomes a moral shift in the American Revolutionary War. And it all happened right here, so it's getting me all choked up about country. Which New York City sandwich are you? Y'all, there is an absolute war on the ground, boots on the ground war for New York City sandwich supremacy, right? You could be a pastrami and rye, like they do at Cass's Deli on the Lower East Side. You could be a bagel and lox, you know, cream cheese, lox, capers at pretty much any bagel store. You could be a New York chopped cheese, which originated in kind of East Harlem in the Bronx, super popular around here in Washington Heights. You could be a New York or an Italian chicken parm, you know, an Italian hero sandwich, that kind of thing. Or you could be a bacon, egg, and cheese at any moment of the day. Now this walk, I'm about to go through so many different neighborhoods, and I'm gonna see the war right on the ground for New York City sandwich supremacy. Okay, which sandwich are you? The Broadway cuts diagonally through the city, and a lot of big actual like New York City parks and landmarks or cultural centers are where Broadway crosses over each avenue. So right now we're in the 130s. It's essentially acting as 11th Avenue. It'll start crossing diagonally east. We'll cross over 10th Avenue at 72nd Street, Upper West Side. We'll cross over 9th Avenue at 66th Street. That becomes Lincoln Center. We'll cross over 8th Avenue at 59th Street, which is essentially the bottom left corner of Central Park. We'll cross over 7th Avenue at 46th Street. That's Times Square. We'll cross over 6th Avenue at 34th Street. That's Herald Square, Macy's. We'll cross over 5th Avenue at 23rd Street. That's essentially Ely, the Flatiron Building, and Madison Square Park. We'll cross over essentially 4th Avenue at Union Square. Right, and it'll continue like that all the way down to the Battery. So massive things are built on the infrastructure of Broadway. What are you doing out here today?
Stopping and going. Patrolling traffic.
You cheering people on?
Yes, I am.
What do you got to say to the people?
Stay motivated, stay cool and hydrated.
What motivates you to keep going?
God.
God.
Yeah. Gotta have an attitude of gratitude.
Praise, attitude of gratitude. Yep. I love your sunflower, by the way. Let's go. Attitude of gratitude. I'm going to get hit by a car because I'm in an intersection, but holy moly, an attitude of gratitude from her, y'all. Hey, what's one thing you're grateful for?
This job.
Dude, my man, thanks for everything you do.
Of course, dude.
Keep living. Attitude of gratitude. Just as the headache's hitting, right? I just took a selfie saying, woe is me, my headache started. And then two people, attitude of gratitude, loving what they're doing, cheering on people. Y'all, come on. Go out and make someone's day. Come on, just go do it. So, headaches have officially begun. Let's see how this day goes. This is only something that New Yorkers who have lived here for a while would know. This is where Absolute Bagels used to be at 107th Street and Broadway. And it turned into 2788 Bagels. So this was one of my favorite bagels. I think it was my favorite bagel place in the entire city 15 years ago when I lived Upper West Side. And for December 2024, they closed due to health code violations, unfortunately. But the new owners reopened it as 2788 Bagels, and I think hired on some of the old staff in order to maintain quality and control. So while Absolute Bagels is no longer there, and I don't think TikTok has found this place yet, it's still, I think, the same quality as the old Absolute Bagels, so definitely check it out. I wanted to give you a view of two different parks here at 106th Street. This is looking west towards Riverside Park. This is looking east towards Central Park. You can't really see it, but here at 106th Street, we are at the northwest part of Central Park, which goes from 110th Street and essentially 8th Avenue all the way down to 59th Street and essentially 8th Avenue, and it goes all the way over 59th Street to 5th Avenue, and then all the way back up to 110th Street. Massive ass park. As well, just to the west is Riverside Park, which cuts all the way up the west side, west of Broadway, and goes all the way down into like the 60s or upper 60s, low 70s. Why I say that is the Upper West Side is like literally one of the most majestic natural beauty neighborhoods in the entire city. Got to check it out. Birthday to Yo Ange. He is streaming. He's got 116 people on his Kick or Twitch? YouTube. So where can they check him out?
YouTube, Yo Ange, Y-O-A-N-G, Yo Ange.
And what's one of your birthday wishes?
We're going to get some Indian food buffet down the street.
Let's go Indian buffet on the birthday. Happy birthday! All right, he's streaming on the street corner of New York City. Right, it's pretty cool. We got there is no age range to be a streaming influencer on YouTube. So I'm walking around in the 80s up here in Broadway, and I'm reminded just how much I love the Upper West. I used to live up here for the first 5 years of living in New York City, and it's just beautiful on every corner. There's tons of amazing grocery stores for just good quality food. Cinderella, Zabar's, Fairway Market, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. It's kind of like an old arts scene. There's a big Jewish scene, a lot of bagel stores around here. You've got the Museum of Natural History, you've got Central Park. It's just like a little bit slower, more local, beautiful pace of life. I truly believe if I didn't live in Brooklyn, I would literally live on the Upper West Side. It's just so delicious, so beautiful, so many fresh fruit stands. It's an amazing place to come visit. All right, I'm crying for the second time on the walk. I'm standing in front of where 747 began. This Fairway Market right here at 74th and Broadway. I used to live 2 blocks away, and I come into this supermarket, this amazing Upper West Side food market, and I get my tomatoes, and I get my onions, and I used to buy these onions to make my pasta sauce. Man, I used to buy the one wedge of brie, the sleeve of Carr's crackers right here, folks. It all began right here. So this is an example of where Broadway starts to cut diagonally across the avenues. We're right here at 71st and 72nd Street, where we're going to be going diagonal down Broadway, but this is Amsterdam Avenue, which becomes 10th Avenue. So it's really like you're going to start seeing a lot more diagonal intersections. I mean, look, I used to live a block that way. Trader Joe's Fairway is that way. We're going down towards Lincoln Center this way. It's just an amazing part of town. It's unreal here. Look at the architecture. This place is nuts. Upper West Side is phenomenal, y'all. Come on, let's go. Upper West Side for life. All right, now we're at Lincoln Center, which is 64th Street. which is where Broadway crosses over 9th Avenue. You see how it goes diagonal up Columbus Avenue, which is 9th, and then here we're going down Broadway, which is diagonal. But look at it. This is like, you know, this is where the opera, this is where Lincoln Center, this is where Juilliard dance. This is just like the arts and culture kind of like hub of New York City right here, Upper West. Beautiful statues, wonderful flowers. You've got Brasserie Boulud. You've got the Smith. You've got Cafe Fiorello. You got Dante Park, who is named after a Florentine artist, Dante, from the 1200s. Yeah, lots of good stuff. By the way, shout out to New York City for honoring, like having a bunch of parks and statues named after great Italian men. That was Dante Park. We're now in Columbus Circle, named after Cristoforo Columbus, which obviously he had a very unique, challenging history, but nonetheless he found America in 1492, and we have an entire square named after him. We are where Broadway essentially crosses over diagonally over 8th Avenue. We are at the bottom left-hand corner of Central Park. You see all those trees? They go about 60 blocks north, and they go 3 avenues east towards 5th Avenue. So Columbus Circle is a massive, massive hub with the Time Warner Center. You got the shops at Columbus Circle. You got a great Williams-Sonoma, a great Whole Foods, and the entrance to Central Park. Right here. From here on out for the next 40 blocks, starting at 58th Street, you're going to see a lot more tall, skyscrapery commercial buildings that remind you of what New York City looks like to outsiders. We're moving from a residential neighborhood of the Upper West Side to a commercial big-ass district of Midtown Manhattan. So Central Park, is about 50 blocks tall. To the west is Upper West Side. To the east is Upper East Side. Underneath 59th Street, all the way down to about 14th Street, we're in like Midtown Manhattan. So we're about to hit Times Square. We're gonna see only tall buildings all around here, which is so fun, such high energy, so many amazing things, but you could just see how a 2-block difference between 61st Street, now 58th, is a completely different size building and just feel of New York City. Lots of noise, lots of tourists, lots of ambulances. There's the Hearst building. Big energy here. So this is Stardust Diner, where, a bunch of people are lining up to come in for lunch, where actually Broadway stars who aren't performing maybe right now in a show, sing to you at your table. They belt out show tunes. They dance throughout the diner. It's a really famous kind of Times Square, diner that people line up for hours for. So we're about to hit Times Square. So we're going into Times Square, but just to zoom out, we're in the middle of the Theater District. The Theater District runs from essentially 54th Street to 40th Street, from 8th Avenue to 6th Avenue, and it's home for all 40 of our Broadway theaters. You know, Broadway, you have to have above 500 seats. The whole Broadway industry brings in about $2 billion annually for the city. But here's what's interesting. 65% of all Broadway theater ticket buyers are from out of town, which means those $2 billion of tickets are really surrounded by billions of dollars of economic impact from people flying in to New York City to go to a Broadway play. So this is like our heart and gold of theater and just Midtown Manhattan energy. Everybody here on out is going to be a tourist. Guaranteed. We've made it to the granddaddy of it all, Times Square. We're in Father Duffy Square between 46th Street, where Broadway links up with 7th Avenue. Up there is where the ball drops. These are the famous red steps in Father Duffy Square. This is the line of thousands of people lining up at the TKTS booth to buy Broadway tickets. Right here on this little square is where I shut down Times Square on Thursday, September 15, 2016, to host a 16-person gratitude dinner where we all cried. Underneath these grates right here is actually a music player that if you actually get down to the ground and listen, you'll hear music playing from under the subway grates. Right here, we're talking about Jesus. We're spreading the gospel of the Lord right here. Jesus.
He wants to find your heart because he loves you. He loves you. He died on the cross for you.
Jesus.
It wasn't like a random choice. He did it for love. He did it for love.
Love right here in Times Square, baby. I want to show you one of the greatest scams in Times Square. This guy is taking a photo of this family with these Disney characters. After he takes the video or photo, he's going to go up to them and ask for $20 or $50, and he won't give their phone back to this family until they give him some money. So let's see if we can capture it. Here we go. Come on. Okay, here comes the selfie. There's the family, unsuspecting family. Watch this. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Watch this. Watch this. He's gonna ask for the money. He's gonna ask for the money. Watch this. Here we go. Did it work? Yeah, looks great. Looks great, man. Looks great, man. Looks great, man. He's gonna ask for the money. He's gonna ask for the money. He's showing. He's waiting for me to walk away, I think. Watch this. He's gonna ask for the money. There goes the money. There goes the freaking money. Biggest scam. Come on, y'all. Come on. He won't. He's not satisfied with the money. I'm walking away. Watch this. Tag me. So, low key, I've done that thousands of times. He's taking that family's photo, and I just hop in and give a little peace sign. I've low key done that thousands of times in 15 years of living here. By my guesstimate, I bet I am on a printed out photograph on someone's refrigerator in every country on earth. I mean, probably not, but like the amount of people that I've just walked up to and done this and gotten in their family photo, I bet I'm on Christmas cards. I bet I am on refrigerators. Folks, you just gotta be like, you just gotta have fun with it. I've met so many amazing people by jumping in their family photo. It's amazing. It's a great way to network. It's like the old, hey, can I bum a cigarette? Try it. Wow, we've made it to where Broadway and 6th Avenue link up at Herald Square at 34th Street. 34th Street, massive thoroughfare in New York City. That's Macy's from the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. This is the parade route. Just to the northeast of us is kind of like Koreatown, some of the best Korean barbecue and hot pot in the city. Just to our west down 34th Street is Penn Station, where the Knicks and Rangers, etc. play. 6th Avenue is called Avenue of the Americas because there is 7 different statues of Central and South American presidents that created freedom for their country and have, statues in their name. This is our first kind of view. You can't see it, of the World Trade Center right there. We're going to see it later on in the walk, but holy moly, what an amazing place, an intersection of so much humanity, of sport, of commerce, of Thanksgiving, celebration. Yahoo! So this is one of the most confusing examples of gentrification in New York City. Leon's Bagels at Broadway in the upper 20s. So this section of Broadway in the upper 20s is essentially the Diamond District, which means jewelry, negotiation, fighting over diamonds, that kind of thing. And there's this random ass stretch of Upside Pizza and Leon's Bagels. Leon's Bagels being one of the TikTok famous bagel stores in New York City. I can't show you today, but in SoHo, there's this stretch of like Leon's Bagels, pop-up bagels, absolute bagels, blah, blah, blah. Private equity-backed TikTok bagels have shown up in the middle of what's historically just a passerby section of Broadway known as the Diamond District. This is where people come to negotiate about blood diamonds, not buy bagels. Stay out of Broadway. Bagels? These 3 stores where Broadway meets 5th Avenue here at 23rd Street. There's Italy right there, which is the best Italian grocer in the city. My whole heart and soul is in Italy. There's Yeti, right? I grew up as a commercial boat captain in South Carolina. Yeti's everything. And there's the Lego store. Y'all know that I'm obsessed with Legos. It's right there. The Mecca is right here. Anyways, Madison Square Park is right there. Beautiful park. It's where Shake Shack originated. Here's the Flatiron building. When it was opened up in 1902, it was the tallest building in the world at 22 stories. Before that bullshit building was built, you could see the Empire State Building from there. Down 23rd Street to the west is Chelsea. That's where Molly and I used to live, at 20th Street and 9th Avenue. Also is Home Depot. Yeah, we have a Home Depot in the middle of New York City. Now we're gonna go down Broadway here and actually pass the Harry Potter store, maybe get some butterbeer. All right, we're here where Broadway essentially meets 4th Avenue at 14th Street at Union Square. And every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday is the Union Square Farmers Market, where you can get the absolute most delicious everything. Look, it's tomato season right now. Look at these. So there are dozens of fruit and vegetable and meat and egg, mushroom vendors across Union Square. If you live in New York, you do not have to shop at one of the big box grocery stores. You can come here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and just get the most beautiful local produce that's grown in upstate New York. It's literally like the best vegetables, the best fruit. New York State is a very underrated agriculture state. You can grow a tremendous amount of beautiful things here. So I picked up a tomato from Migliorelli Farms because I couldn't resist. Man, I tell you what, the ability to just be on a walk. I should probably eat, actually. I'm gonna go to Polly's. The ability to be on a walk and literally just like pop off and get one of the world's best tomatoes, because like Jersey and New York are like randomly really awesome at growing tomatoes. Oh, look, on Park Avenue is the Summer in the Streets. I finally made it. I finally connected back up to them. That's hilarious. There they are. Remember when we lost trail with them at about 125th Street? Found it again. That's cool. They're fun people. I told you that all the buildings beneath 14th Street would be a little bit shorter than the buildings in like big Midtown Manhattan, Times Square. Here's why. So, original New York City was way the F downtown, financial district beneath Wall Street, the old Dutch colony. That's where we're going. That was the original central business district, CBD. Everything north of that was just a low to mid-density, like residential neighborhoods. The first train to come into New York City came into Midtown Manhattan. Well, came into that area, which is not Midtown Manhattan, Grand Central and Penn Station. And so naturally, when they wanted northward expansion from downtown, they decided to build big skyscrapers around those train hubs that trained workers in and out of the city. And so Midtown, big buildings, financial district, big building. All right, we've made it down to Houston Street and Broadway, which is really interesting because Houston is essentially street number 0 on the New York City grid system. So, you know, we came from 218th Street that way, and we came down to Houston, which is essentially street 0. But look, there's a whole city beneath us. So New York City is on a number system above Houston Street and is on a name street system beneath Houston Street. Houston Street is where SoHo begins, south of Houston. Now, the pronunciation of Houston Street is very important. Houston Street in New York City is named after William Houston, who was a big Georgia landowner that was part of the First Continental Congress. It's not pronounced like the city in Texas, Houston, which is named after Sam Houston, who was the first president of the Republic of Texas. So Houston Street, 0 Street. All right, y'all, that was the line to get into Brandy Melville. You're talking about the most basic, everybody looks the same, fucking sheep, y'all, sheep. Look, I'm all down for fashion. I'm all down for trends. But Brandy Melville, these people stand out there for hours to get in to buy the most basic clothing ever. And I apologize if I'm offending some people, but New York City is way too cool to be standing in the heat for hours just to buy the same thing as everybody else is buying. Come on, be better. You'll notice that all the buildings in SoHo kind of look like this, which is different than every other building in New York City. This is the cast iron district. There's over 500 buildings in SoHo that were built using cast iron architecture. Now, why was that important? Previous to SoHo, all the buildings in New York City were red brick with small windows and narrow, short ceilings. SoHo became the manufacturing district after the Civil War. And it came into the time that cast iron steel was invented. And so they built all these buildings with tall ceilings, strong steel, which could take big windows, which was better for airflow for manufacturing. It led for a lot of space. Manufacturing declined here in the mid-1900s, and then artists moved in to create the most expensive artist lofts in the city with this architecture. Made it down to Canal Street and Broadway. Canal Street for like fake purses and fake IDs and everything, but I want to tell you about Canal Street itself. Canal Street lies above the old underground waterworks passageways that they used to drain water from something that was called Collect Pond right here in SoHo and Chinatown. So when all of New York City was beneath Wall Street, way downtown, there was a pond right around here called Collect Pond, which was the drinking water for all of New York City. Eventually that became contaminated, and so they had to take the dirt from a big hill called Soho Hill. Mr. Bayard paid for this, by the way, and they filled in the pond, and they used the drainage canal pipelines to get the water out to the river. Now, Collect Pond is now Chinatown. It used to be the 5 Points neighborhoods, tons of history. You can't really see it, but that's Duane Street, and that's Reed Street, and that's Duane Reed, the grocery store. Yes, our version of like a Walgreens or CVS in New York City is literally called Duane Reed, because I am now officially standing on the point at Broadway where Duane Street and Reed Street are next to each other. That's it. Duane is not maybe Duane was some dude and maybe Reed was some other dude, but Duane Reed is just the combination of two streets in New York City. So yeah, support local. Duane Reed. Okay, you can't really see it, but I'm down here at City Hall, or City Hall Park. Beautiful section of Broadway. City Hall was built between 1803 and 1812, and it's still the oldest continuously used city hall in the entire New York City. I mean, remember, New York's was at one point was the capital of America, one of the first big cities in America, and now the greatest city in the world. So that City Hall has seen a ton of stuff. I don't know what's going on here. Y'all, this is St. Paul's Chapel. I'm still on Broadway and Vesey Street. This is St. Paul's Chapel, and that's the World Trade Center. St. Paul's Chapel is the oldest church in New York City, literally built in 1766. And the Twin Towers, the two Twin Towers used to be right here, right here. When the Twin Towers came down, every single building around here had all their windows shattered, tons of facade damage, even a few buildings came down. Well, St. Paul's Chapel, there was 0 marks on it. No windows, nothing fell on it. It wasn't touched by the grace of God. The FDNY, a bunch of firefighters, put the pews together and would use St. Paul's Chapel to actually take naps during the rescue efforts of 9/11. Definitely come check it out. It's one of the great wonders of New York City. Down to Wall Street here in Lower Manhattan. I'm literally almost at the end of my adventure right here in Broadway. Wall Street literally used to be the northernmost edge of New York City a long time ago. So when New York City was under Dutch rule, originally called New Amsterdam, they built an actual wall across the entire width of the city to keep enemies out. They built it in 1653. When the English took over and, renamed it New York, Wall Street stayed. Now, a group of stockbrokers, 24 of them, went to a big sycamore tree right around the corner in 1792 after the great financial crash of 1792 and signed what's called the Buttonwood Act. That they advocated for financial regulation. That became the birth of the stock market right here on Wall Street. I am almost at the end of my adventure. I've made it down to the Wall Street Raging Bull. Look at the line just to touch the damn bull's balls. So crazy. Anyways, where this bull is actually called Evacuation Day Plaza. So remember when I was talking about the Revolutionary War a long time ago? New York City was under big British occupation. The biggest navy, the biggest army in the world was here in New York City. And after General George Washington absolutely ram-snackled them, the British were forced to depart. They were forced to leave New York City. And they left on November 25th, 1783. And a guy by the name of John Van Arsdale shimmied up one of these poles to hang the American flag. And no more British occupation here in New York City. Took a while, but it happened. So for any of the Revolutionary War people or people that have been trying to do the timeline of New York City along this entire tour, when I was up in Washington Heights, Fort Washington, I told, that got captured on November 16th, 1776. I told you that George Washington captured Trenton from the German Hessians on December 25th, 1776. I told you that we finally kicked the British out in November 25th, 1783, but Alexander Hamilton and the American and French troops went down to the Battle of Yorktown in 1780. Alexander Hamilton led a bayonet charge into Redoubt number 9 and absolutely smothered the British, forcing the British surrender in 1780, but they didn't leave the city until 1783. I mean, who does that? You surrender to a new country and then you don't leave. That's how crazy this whole thing was, right? All right, made it. Time to go home. Bye. I'm just kidding. Holy crap. Yeah, so made it down to the tip of Manhattan. There's the Statue of Liberty over there. This is the Statue of Liberty boat. The whole city is behind us, folks. A couple hours of adventures. Okay, I'm gonna walk all the way back to Washington Heights. No, just kidding. I'm gonna go find a bench and, well, my phone's overheating and I might take a photo. Yeah, I'll get someone to take a photo. Holy crap, let me catch up my thoughts. Oh, made it. Ooh, that feels good. That feels real good. That was a great walk. Yeah, let me get someone to take a photo of me, so stay tuned. We have made it. To go in and have my post-walk drink here at Francis Tavern here at the literal bottom of Manhattan. Francis Tavern was originally built as just a family home for the Delancey family in 1719, Delancey Street. It was converted to a tavern in 1762 by Samuel Francis. It was used by the Sons of Liberty, which is the little rebel-rousing gang that started the revolution. Aaron Burr, Alexander Hamilton, George Washington, Sam Adams, John Jay, you name it. They all gathered here and used to dine and drink and all that kind of good stuff. In 1776, George Washington hosted a banquet for all the New York delegates a month before signing the Declaration of Independence to give him gratitude. In 1783, when they kicked the British out of downtown, they actually had the Evacuation Day banquet here at Francis Tavern. And from 1782 to 1785, it was the house of Foreign Affairs, War, and Treasury, Alexander Hamilton.